Well, it's time for an actual book review. And in this book review, I know I mentioned in a recent update that I was trying to join the fight against disinformation. And I wanted to do just that with this book review. So some of you that were asking about what exactly I meant by that, this is a perfect example of my fight against disinformation and hate speech, frankly. This is Waters Flowing Eastward. And the name on the author here is different than the author inside the cover. It's by the Reverend Dennis Fahey. And so I don't know the discrepancy there, but I'm going to put the author that is listed on the spine of the book. I'll put that's going to be in the video description. But I don't understand the discrepancy in there, but maybe one of you knows something about this. But this is Waters Flowing Eastward, The War Against the Kingship of Christ. And this was originally published in 1931. This copy was reprinted in 1998. Now, this is why this to me is a perfect example of misinformation, disinformation, that sort of thing. And the tricky thing with this sort of material is it's not an issue of it not being factual. It's not an issue of it not being true or right or correct. It's an issue of what this could make you do mentally, that this takes you to a place of, shall we say, wrongthink, that it brings, it could put you on a slippery slope from which it would be very difficult to recover. And I'm going to see if I can put up as a graphic in this. There was, during COVID, during the shutdowns and everything, which were totally necessary, there was a pyramid thing about conspiracy theories and the danger of the different conspiracy theories. And this one is definitely at the top. So if I can find that graphic, I'm going to put that up on the screen so you can see that, because this is a perfect example of that kind of, frankly, smut. But this is an authentication of the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. And that, of course, is an anti-Semitic tract that has generated a lot of trouble over the last century. So this book is authenticating that and explaining kind of the paper trail for it and a lot of underground Jewish law and Jewish court systems and secret societies leading up to that. And a lot of information that is, while it's fascinating to read, it's one of those things that's kind of like playing with matches, like I mentioned in the previous video. It's kind of like playing with matches. Like you could burn your house down. So this is one of those books that I don't recommend that you ever read, because I think it's genuinely dangerous. Of course, many of you are familiar with the Talmud. Of course, the Talmud is cited in here. But also, in addition to the Talmud, the kind of condensed laws of the Talmud, and I had not heard of this until I read this, the Shulchan Aruch, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that is a series of books, a volume of books of law books, however you want to say that, distilled down from the Talmud. And I have that in my library as well. And I bought it because of this book, because I wanted to check that out. But so that might be the subject of a future video. But much like the Talmud, there's a lot in the Shulchan Aruch, shall we say, that is very obviously taken out of context and used to support a lot of anti-Semitic theories. So you definitely want to watch out for that. And the other thing in here is this court system, this underground, kind of an underground Judaic system called the Kahal. And that in here he's spelling it K-A-H-A-L, but it's also sometimes spelled Q-A-H-A-L. But these are totally legitimate societies and legal systems that are just taken out of context a lot by people just that are, frankly ignorant. And that, again, is why this book is so dangerous, because ignorant people, of course, are going to read this and, think the worst things possible from this. So the other thing is an underground Jewish tribunal called the and I just had it and I flipped the page, the Beth Den. And one of the things when I first read about that in this book, I thought, wow, that's kind of crazy, and did some digging on it. And one of the things, and I tried to find this article before I made this video because I wanted to cite it in here, is, if memory serves me right, one of the problems that Chris Christie had when he was running for office against Donald Trump was Chris Christie prosecuted Jared Kushner's father, Charles Kushner. And Charles Kushner was involved in a really weird, like, blackmail plot against his brother-in-law. There's a lot of weird stuff there. And I couldn't find any of the articles that went into this, and I don't know if they've been purged from the internet, but these used to be fairly, mainstream sources talking about this, legacy media sources. So talking about how one of the problems that Charles Kushner had with Chris Christie was that Chris Christie was refusing to allow this to be settled in this Jewish court. And I wonder if that was that Beth Den court like this, but I wasn't able to find anything about that. But supposedly that was one of the major beefs that Jared Kushner had with Chris Christie, was that he would not allow that to be overseen by a rabbinical court, and wanted it seen in the case tried in a regular, secular court. And I thought that was a very interesting little piece of information. And like I said, I'm having trouble finding anything about that now. I just spent a few minutes on the interwebs looking that up, so there might be more out there. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not as good at looking that stuff up. But anyway, this is one of those books I highly recommend avoiding it, not buying it, because, again, this is a validation of the Learned Elders of Zion, the protocols of the Elders of Zion. And that can lead you to a lot of dark places. So it's one of those things you got to go, it's not a matter of is it right or not, or is it correct, or is it factual? You have to ask yourself, is it going to lead me to wrong think? Is it going to lead me to a place of danger where I'm a danger to myself when I start thinking things I shouldn't be thinking about? And that's something where, again, YouTube has really done a bang-up job of this, of helping us, keeping us safe from ourselves. Because it's not, and I said this in my update, but I'm going to say it again because it's powerful stuff. When you have the kind of censorship and oversight that we have on YouTube, we're not losing freedom. We are gaining limits on our freedoms. And that's important. So, it's kind of like guardrails. They keep us safe. So, anyway, if you were to buy this, the only reason I would find and buy this book is to keep it off the streets, so someone of a weaker countenance, with somebody that maybe doesn't possess your discernment, doesn't get their hands on this book and start engaging in wrong thing. So anyway, Waters Flowing Eastward, Authentication of the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. So again, very dangerous book. Typically, I'm big on free speech, but free speech is a slippery slope. So, and I'll end it there.